Hey, what is up, everybody? As always, let me know if we're getting audio, if we're getting pictures. Oh, nice. Ben's drinking a Fatheads. I got a Fatheads too. Let's see. You got a dab to get that Hazy 8. Commodore Perry. That's a classic beer up here. Ben in Columbus is drinking. That's the beer that I always get if we're out somewhere and I go to a gas station and there's usually not a good craft beer selection in Northeast Ohio. They'll at least usually have either Great Lakes Burning River or Great Lakes Commodore, and they're both beers I like. But I almost kind of reserve them for that situation now. Kind of like, I guess Sam Adams Boston Lager would be my beer of last resort if there wasn't a local Great Lakes. Hey, how's it going? Hey, traveling through. Sounds good? Good. Yeah, like we did on New Year's, I tried to crank it up so it's bouncing past where it looks like it should, but watching some of these on playback, it was so quiet that I don't know, I think the equalizers are showing it or whatever you would call those wrong. So, yeah, got it cranked up so hopefully it sounds a little better. Hey, what's up, C. Staten? That's good. Kind of old school. 70 IBUs, yeah. It's kind of they say hazy, but this almost tastes more like an old school imperial pale ale to me. More bitterness than hop flavor, which is kind of refreshing once in a while these days. Hey, what's up, Alan? Well, Ben from Columbus just showed the puke face with Sam Adams. And they make some awful beer. Like, some awful, like, just what is that? They have those like cherry stouts and stuff that are just like super sugary sweet and just really bad. But their standard lineup is still like solid early craft beer, like Sierra Nevada. Like the Sierra Nevada's regular lineup, the best thing in the world? No, but it's just solid old school craft beer. Way better than a Budweiser. But Alan, I just saw your Instagram for the first time. I was checking out your Blue Trek. Oh, you're from there and you hate it. So, where my good friend who was the drummer in my band for years, and I went to his wedding in Boston, and I've gone and visited him 2 other times out there. He lived pretty close to the original Sam Adams Brewery. You could tell they're not brewing anything over there, and if they are, it's just for the brew pub, kind of like Great Lakes does with their small brew pub. But there was a bar around the corner from him, actually, where he had his wedding reception, which was like the first bar to serve Sam Adams. So when I'd go visit him, we'd get like and I think they were like their microbrews, but even when they first came out with a hazy, that's what I was drinking a ton in Boston. But wish I could think of the name of that place. But Boston Lager is just a lager. It's just a, you could only, I don't know. I don't mind it. It's like Dortmunder Gold by Great Lakes. It's not going to blow your mind, but it's going to be a solid beer made by people who are decent, Hey, what's up, Lanky? I just watched your skiing video with your daughter. I didn't even know that place existed where you guys went. Because I'm like, how could they be going to Boston Mills Brandywine on the day that I was, or around the time I was looking out, because we got all that snow, but then it got so warm and slushy right after that. It's not John Harvard's, no. The name will come to me it's one of the oldest bars in the area, and I think it just closed in Boston, what we were talking about. Yeah, tonight God, that name will come to me, and I can't believe it's eluding me because we went there all the time. It's around the corner from them, and it's awesome. Like, you could see, it's a wood floor, you could see where they tiled it at some point, and then refinished it once, and you could see like the tracks like worn through like 100, however, I can't remember how old it was, but like 150 years of like foot traffic, how it's worn through the floor that might have been reinstalled in the 20s or 40s or whatever, and now it's down. It's just amazing. Really cool place. And a real shame that I heard it was closing, and now with COVID, I bet it probably did. But, you know. McGreevy's not. The neighborhood is, it's like the border of, so it's not like old Boston. It's the border of Jamaica Plains and Roxbury. So over in those two, and every time I visited, I never really got my bearings on where one neighborhood started and where the other one ended. Like a working class area for sure. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to say is, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. These chats don't show up, as I've talked about before, after the fact, which is amazing that people watch these after the fact, because it must be so weird since we're all interacting. But some of you guys who are commenting, since I can't see the chat after the fact, if you guys have YouTube channels, like I already said, go follow Lanky. He makes good cycling videos. But in the real comments, not in the chat, like in the real comments below this video, just write just make a comment being like, I have a YouTube channel, so I could go and subscribe back to your guys' channel if you guys post, whatever you post. Mostly cycling content is probably why you're here. Mix of photography, film photography, cycling content, but at this point it's mostly cycling stuff. So yeah, let me know, because it's a lot of times like, if we're not connecting on Instagram and stuff like that, and you're just commenting in these chats, it's just hard for me to keep it all straight after the fact because I can't see them later, like I said. So drop a comment with your YouTube channel. Well, it'll be your name, but just be like, yeah, follow me back so I can subscribe to your channels and see your guys' videos too. And like Alan did earlier, he followed me on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, that's Alan he's always in the chats and comments on the YouTube videos, so follow him back, and now I get to see what his bikes look like and what his riding looks like, so it's really cool. So it's not just one way. Like I mentioned too, before all the holiday stuff, I do want to do some, I talked to Aaron about figuring out testing out like the Zoom setup, so then let's do somewhere I could interview each one of you guys, and then we could, on nights like tonight when no one else is coming over here, and then we could have some like chats with and put some faces and have a conversation that moves a little faster than me responding. And as you can see, I'm not very good at multitasking anyway, so that'll be fun, I think, through the winter to do some of that and talk to each other. Like you said, how are the legs feeling after the festive? I was tired, man, because doing that all indoors, when I ride indoors, it's just, I'm almost never soft pedaling, because it's, you're only riding to like, Swift uses watts per kilogram to calculate your speed and everything. So it's like, you're almost always going for it. And even when I do like a solo ride that's just a free ride, I'm still pedaling harder than I would if I just went for a ride. Like yesterday, I went to photograph some stuff on the other side of town, and there's times when I'm still climbing and getting after it. But on Zwift, even if I'm just going for a ride to get miles in or to keep the legs spinning, I still end up going pretty hard. The Tour de Zwift started today, so I actually did stage 1 of that. And it's not a race this year, there's only group rides, but again, we're all cyclists, it turns into a race, and even if you're not trying to win it, you're still trying to stick with your group, and everyone's going to sprint at the end and all that. So my legs right now are actually just tired from, it's only 15 miles today, but I did 15 miles, and they're tired from that, because I don't know how accurate my trainer is. It's a smart trainer, but it's not the super expensive one. But I was averaging 260, 270 watts, which for me, over 15 miles is pretty good. Oh, you said JP was too sketchy when you lived there? I get the idea that it's kind of like I feel about like the worst neighborhoods in Akron, where I'm fine there during the day. My friend Eric said there's some parts, even a few blocks from where he lives, that after dark might be where he'd want to limit where he went. There was one night we walked, he needed cigarettes, and the corner store was closed where he'd normally go to. And he said, and we ended up walking a few blocks farther. And he told me in the morning, he's like, if I wasn't buzzed, I probably wouldn't have done that. So, but they also don't lock their doors in that same neighborhood. So they're right over by, if you know where that huge park that was designed by the same guy who did Central Park and Devil in the White City. He's the guy who designed the World's Fair stuff, Olmsted. They're right over by that park where the old zoo was and the old bear cages, if you ever went out there in Boston. Yeah, JP seems like it's a weird neighborhood. It's like you could see where it's kind of gentrifying, and same with Roxbury, and it's kind of, but then you're like But then I walk to the store and it's all bars on the windows, and when I'm there, I have no sense of like how, like where I'm like, is this getting better or did it start to get better and go back? It's just a weird area for me. And it's hard to reckon with what I know from Akron or even Cleveland or New York City or Chicago. It just has a different feeling, which Boston in general does too. So. Yeah, Micah just said it. Also, when you're on a trainer, there are no stop signs or road crossings that would cause you to stop. Exactly. You're just always kind of going for it. And even though you're looking, you do get sucked into the scenery. It's a video game, basically, that's under your own power, which is kind of why I like it. And I will be looking at the scenery and all that, but you're just going to keep pedaling. You're not going to coast on a train or even on the downhills. I mean, if you want to stay with the bunch you're in, sometimes everybody is picking up the pace and you're shifting into a harder gear. And the way Zwift works, it doesn't really, you still do need to put in some power even on like a steep descent, like even a mountain descent. There's a way to get into an aero tuck. I'm always too nervous to try it when I'm in a group because then I'm afraid if I try it and miss it, I'll lose the group I'm in. And it's just like real life. If you lose a group, it's so hard to catch back on. But yeah, it's more like riding the trainer to me is more like running. It's always a workout. Like I go out on my bike sometimes, and it's not a workout. It's as Russ from Pathless Pedal would say, like party pace, right? You know, it's just I'm out riding. I'm having a good time. Maybe I'm riding with some people who are a little slower than me. You know, the climb's always going to be a climb, but if I ride out to Kent flat ride and we're all just chilling and drinking some beers, like I could chill. On the trainer, it's like it might as well be out for a run. You know. Hey, Dominic. Sorry, missed your comment in there. Yeah, I do. I am amazed. I don't think so. I thought I would never ride on a trainer. Like I got one last. It's a year ago, December, I believe, and I thought I would never ride one. But the smart trainer features, and that's what I started to read about in Zwift, are what make it possible for me. And I'm not actually a gamer. I don't play video games. I barely ever did. It was only a social thing. Like you know, and all my friends had them, you know, for years growing up. And I would play at their houses and stuff like that. And a bunch of you were sitting around fine, but I was never someone to spend a lot of time sitting alone playing video games. But anyone who plays video games and say they would never ride a trainer, but you're a cyclist, I think you would be totally, if you got on a smart trainer and rode Zwift, you would be like, oh, I can do this. Because it's to me, it's better than, the reason I don't play video games is I don't like sitting around very static. I'm either even if I'm watching YouTube, I'm trying to learn something, whether it's about cycling or photography or history or my nerdy stuff, or I'm reading or I'm working, you know, I'm not someone who just like solo takes in a lot of passive entertainment. But so, yeah, the thing is like what makes it entertaining to me is it's a video game, but I'm making the effort to actually make the avatar go. So anyone who plays like Madden, is Madden football still the thing? I'm so clueless. But any sports game, anything like that, you know, and you're just sitting there pressing the buttons, this takes it to the next level, whereas it has all the real effects of real world stuff, drafting, uphills, downhills, but, you know, you're actually using your effort to make that happen. And then you're communicating with people all over the world. I talked about this in the videos I've posted about Zwift. But that's one thing. Like I had a guy the other day who like typed in, he was like, Fitzwater. I grew up near Fitzwater Road. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's about an hour from me on my bike. I was like, not named after my family. Just a coincidence. I actually live over here. I was like, Brecksville, right? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I was actually just shooting at Fitzwater, the train station the other day, and we're nerding out. And he lives out west now. And it's just like, I'm putting in the miles, and I'm actually riding a little harder while I'm typing these messages to this guy who now lives in, I think he said the Pacific Northwest. But then today, even on the Tour de Zwift, when everyone's on the start line and we're all just warming up our legs, everyone's like saying where they're from. It's just so cool. Like one guy's like, good morning from Tokyo. And it's like, good evening from Iowa. And it makes it kind of an interesting thing. And I understand now too why gamers, when they use the headphones and actually communicate with people that they're playing games with, I was always like, that can't be that cool. And now I see why it is, that social aspect of it. Yeah, I could get really sucked into the race atmosphere too, where I'm like, you know, I'm going a little harder than I am to stay in a bunch so I don't lose the draft, because I know in the draft my speed is up and the race is going to end faster that way. And then I am always thinking too, it gets to that point where like, 2 miles, everyone starts to ramp it up a little. 1 mile, and I'm like, I can't hang on. You're having that whole mental struggle. Like, the closest I felt is when I'm running like half marathons, and I'm like, I know what my time goal is, and you're like, start to have those mental, like, conversations with yourself that are pretty interesting. I get that on the trainer more than I probably do in real life, even in a, gravel race or something like that. Nerd, yeah. The name of that bar in Boston is driving me crazy. I think it's just like a single name, but anyways. So yeah, the Barry Hoban, which I built over 3 months, 5 episodes, whatever. I got some tires for it. I'll zoom in on those a little bit. I said I wanted to get 32s. Otis was able to give me a deal on 30s because they came off. I think what he was alluding to is they came off a new bike that they wanted something wider on. Maybe these were even maybe it was even one of Micah's bikes. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But yeah, so some WTB. What are they? Exposure. And they're 30s, and when he said, he's like, I can give you a really good deal on these 30s, because he couldn't sell them as new, because they technically weren't. So I was like, all right. But it ended up working out, because with where the chainstays are, and so that, whatever you call the screws that go into the back of the dropouts, were all the way forward, and when I tried to put the tire in, it wouldn't even fit. So I actually had to move the hub all the way to the back of the dropouts to get the tire in, and the clearance is, I don't know if it's factory or frame recommended, but it's tight. It's good. I'm not worried about it rubbing on the chainstays, but yeah, I couldn't put 32s on this bike, surprisingly. I bet this bike being full Reynolds 531 with campy dropouts was probably a bike that came with tubulars, I bet. And at the time, probably 23s, 21s maybe. So yeah, the 30s don't fit bad on here, and these are, if I put a caliper on them, they're probably, on the wide end of that. But yeah, they look good with the tan walls. I love this bike. I knew I wanted tan walls. And then the other thing was this New Bomb, if you've ever seen, I love cloth bar tape on vintage bikes, but this is the kind that's actually padded. So it gives you that vintage aesthetic on the outside, but has like a layer of cushioning, so you're getting the benefit of it feeling a little more like a modern bar tape. And that was the other thing. If I was going to order some, I wouldn't have probably ordered orange, but we were looking at this and it looks so short. We're like, how could this fit bars? And Otis was like, well, I'll give you a deal. Take one roll home, roll one side and see if it fits and see if you like it and see how it feels. And if it doesn't work and it's too short, bring it back. We'll wrap a tool. No big deal. If you like it, come in and buy the other roll. And so I went in and got the other one today. It actually way longer than we thought. That's how much extra there was. These aren't the widest bars in the world, but they're definitely not narrow. Don't know the size, but yeah, they're definitely a little wider than you would expect. Like on my Peugeot, there would be even in like farther. I'm not somebody who could tell bars off the top of my head. That's not a number I keep in mind. But so yeah, I still think the orange looks kind of cool. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shellac it too, so it'll go much darker, and I'll put a number of coats of shellac on it. So I think it'll be cool. The tires have an orange logo. There's an orange campy logo here. But yeah, the little accent color on something that's all, we have it all gray and silver. And then same thing, I kind of wanted a silver bottle cage, but he had these tubular stainless steel ones in stock, and that's still going to look pretty cool on this bike too. So I went with that. This is a can't remember, Planet bike. Tubular, yeah, it's tubular steel. So yeah, it'll be perfect. Hey, what's up, Joel? Doyle's. Thank you, Ben from Columbus, Pudgy Pedal Pushers. That is Doyle's. Yeah, have you ever been there? It's like you, vintage aesthetic with a layer of cushioning. Yeah, nice. No, they weren't yours, Micah. I was thinking they would have come off something like a Synapse, but some of those All Cities are shipping with stupid narrow tires, and it's like, why are they wasting their time shipping them with those? I don't think it's what All City's going for with who they're trying to sell bikes to, and then everyone's just going to take them off and put the, tires as wide as they can, or tires as wide to get fenders on there and all that. So it seems really weird. The tires that some of the, maybe it's just with the bike shortage, maybe it's just what they could get in bulk, but I wouldn't know that. Ben would probably, both Bens would probably know that better than me. So, you felt like it was touristy? I felt like it was very neighborhood bar, but there is 3 sections, and they sometimes have music, so maybe there's a touristy vibe. Then again, me and my friend Eric are going up for like Bloody Marys in the morning and mid-afternoon drinks and stuff like that. So maybe we, even without the accent, is fit in with Doyle's in Boston with more normalcy, or more like local vibe. The one day we were there late at night, and his girlfriend had flown me out to Boston to see him as a surprise the first time I visited him since he moved there. He was having a hard time kind of finding a job. He moved out for her, so he didn't have any of his friends. He's from Youngstown, Ohio. So it was kind of, and one of our best friends, both of our best friends, had just passed away. And so I guess he was in a kind of bad way. She flew me out there. We were at Doyle's real late one night, and it's blurry, probably about as blurry as the end of the New Year's Eve show last Thursday, but we were definitely crying at the bar talking to each other. And we came in the next day, and it might have been, I think we were picking up like breakfast, and then we were like, might as well sit down and have a Bloody Mary while we wait for that, and we were going to bring it back to his, now his wife. And it was the same bartender, and I can't do a Boston accent, but I'll never forget the fact, what he said. He looks at me and Eric, and he goes, "You're back, you savages." So we've called each other savage ever since then. So I guess I'm going to wrap these bars. I'm not great at doing bar tape, but it's why I like to do it myself. I had Otis do it when he was helping me build up my Raleigh gravel bike, because I kind of, like I've said before, that's one bike I want just to work and have all the right components, and but I like tinkering and stuff like that. And so I'm like, I can't get better at wrapping bar tape unless I keep doing it myself. I'm never going to work in a shop or anything like that. So I'll take the little flaws. I did this one a little better. I did wrap it the right way, the Park Tool way, where you come from the bottom and then over the top. And then I'm doing the twine. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the vintage twine style. I'm sure Ben in Columbus and Ben in Akron have, but I have it on a couple of my bikes where I want the vintage aesthetic. And I love that twine look. This twine is very thin. I've always done a thicker one, and then doing it with the cushion cloth tape was a little trickier, and it's not perfect, but it still looks cool. And bar tape is something you change anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But let's see, I'll zoom in with the camera from the other side to show that. But yeah, I love doing the old school twine thing, and that's why, like I said, this cushion bar tape's great. Total vintage vibe, total vintage look, but it is pretty nice and actually soft. On my Viscount, I have a video about the Viscount I have a playlist of the bikes I own. That one I did straight old school. It's just cloth shellacked to the old bars, and I always wear gloves when I ride that bike for sure. No raw dog in that bike. You said you usually do one side perfect and the other side awful. But that's kind of, that's probably what will happen to me, because I had pretty good luck, and I did a decent job. I had to do the twine 2 or 3 times. There's a trick where and I'll show it. I don't know how it would come out on a live stream, but and I could link to a video Rivendale's video where they show how to do it really good, how you loop it back through so there's no knots on either end. It's really cool, and that I had to do that 2 or 3 times. But it is hard to get this small of a twine to go up the little indentation and over the bar tape. Oh, Black Fork is tentatively May 1st. Time to suffer. Huh. I'm actually drinking out of, no focus. Drinking out of my Black Fork cup. They also, in Ben's hometown of Garrettsville, the registration for Road Apple Roubaix went live. It seems like on bike registration.com, it just has last year's stuff copied and pasted. I need to go to the website and see what they're because it's in March. They have to have done. There's no way they're going to be able to have the after party and the big start in downtown. I'm sure it's going to have to be staggered. Mountain bars are way easier. Yeah. Black Fork, like I've talked about, Black Fork is the scariest ride. It's 66 miles, 60 miles, 6,000 feet of elevation, and some of the scariest gravel roads I've ever ridden down. Yeah, I mean, instead, I was riding with people who were way slower than me because I was so scared to go down the descents fast. I was out climbing everybody around me, but yeah, Ben ended up in the ditch. I think we've told these stories on here before, but Black Fork is nuts. Put this over here a second. Yeah, Road Apple is a much more chill gravel ride. I think that's 42 miles. The elevation isn't, and there's a lot of pavement on Road Apple. There's still good sceneries. It's a good like warm up for the whole season. You know, being in March and all that. I still ride and try and ride as hard as I can. Last year was a little scary. We left here. It rained all night. It rained all day the day before and then went below freezing, and I was worried the whole thing was going to be ice. Everything around here was icy. I went to pick up Ben. It was scary driving to pick up Ben. And then we got out there, and I don't know what it was. It must have just been something with the topography where it was just a little warmer and everything wasn't frozen, because I was like, 42 miles of worrying about ice is not what I'm about to enjoy doing.
Is that enough? Yeah.
Dirty Road and oh yeah, Lanky, you've done Road Apple, right? We talked about this in one of the first. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Surprised, Micah, you haven't done Road Apple. It seems like that would be something you would totally be into. Oh, you did the Black Fork night ride. That was, yeah, that's right. I didn't know I'd get trolled with a channel this small, but apparently we are. We're a bunch of white dudes, so you know. I mean, you're still an idiot, but we're a bunch of white dudes. I guess that's Eric Benz. I'm almost 90% sure that would be Eric Benz. Yeah, I get over there and do that. Need my mouse. So I haven't had to do this before, as you can imagine, so I actually need to figure out how to cut this guy off. Now that just removed one message. Cool. I think I got rid of him. He'll probably come back with a new name. That's what I watch him do on other YouTube channels. Watching a guy ride, his YouTube channel is GP Llama. He does really good, like, he's really into Zwift, and that's what I watch for, like, Zwift tips when I'm starting out on Zwift. He'll do, like, the live streaming from the bike, like, Tour de Zwift and stuff like that, and he'll get those guys once in a while. and I watch him real quick. He's like, "See ya," and then like they'll change their name slightly. It'll be like Alex Jones 2, and then they'll be like back on commenting like a second. They'll be like, "I'm back," and he's like, I can't imagine how boring your life has to be to troll a channel with 15 people watching. Yeah, I think I booted him. I hit him. We had before Eric was in our band, we had a different Eric who was our drummer, who was a guy we met through a Scene Classified ad. And he recently, like, I hadn't heard from him forever, like, resurfaced. And on Facebook, like, to all my friends was, like, DMing every woman I knew and, like, writing all this crazy right-wing Alex Jones stuff. And I'm just wondering if that's him. I think Ben saw some of that. Or maybe it's that guy who unsubscribed because I was wearing the Obama shirt in the cycling to the polls video. He got all bent out of shape. Can you imagine? He thought I was going to be apologetic. And instead I said, "Oh, poor baby can't handle an Obama shirt." There's no politics in the video. All right, the up and over method. Let's see if I could pull this off smoothly. That looks pretty good. Little bump here. I could always back it off if I have to. Yeah, that's a little gappy. He's back. So Columbus, then, this is not a responsibility, but I added you as a moderator, and if you feel like it, I think it'll give you the power to block those people if you want it. So, like I said, it's not an obligation, but did I call it? Did I call it that guy would be back? Someone's got that much. Nice. Oh yeah, you get a little wrench by your name now too. Nice, good. Because he's got it. I mean, you can make up as many email addresses you want, right? But there has to be something you sign. I can't remember creating a YouTube account now. It's been since what, 2007. This is the part that's always the trick, going over the levers. And I actually watched a couple Part Tool videos and Rivendell videos today because I'm like, I want to do it the right way instead of, and I don't really care for putting that, especially with this thicker cloth tape. I didn't want to put that little, you could put the piece from lever to lever, which works fine if you're using a kind of a thinner or a modern tape that you're pulling on, or even my leather bar tape it kind of worked nice on. But with this, I didn't really want that. I wanted it to be just the one motion. Oh yeah, the PBR sign. Is it in the shot? Let's see. Well, now I'm blocking it. Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. I just noticed I'm on the laptop cam. Why didn't anyone tell me that? I guess we were a little distracted, huh? Yeah, you know, that's what... You can't think that that person who was doing that would be a regular troll. It has to be someone who knows me, right? It has to be someone who personally... That's what I'm saying. Like that guy that I knew back in the day who's gone off the rails. Um, I remember him talking about all this crazy conspiracy stuff, but that's before it was mainstream and you didn't worry about it. You're like, oh, that's just nutcase stuff. And he wasn't saying crazy racist stuff either. He was just listening to conspiracy stuff at night, and you're like, whatever, stupid shit. I don't care. But now you see that's every Trump supporter. Not every Trump supporter, but a lot. Like that laptop cam, at least it was pointing at the bars, Ben. Oh yeah, the PBR sign, not PBR. So. Should I zoom in a little on that? The bars for... I'll do that when I do the tape. The twine. He said, yeah, that was me. What do you mean, Ben? Oh. His name is Eric Benz, and he has what he calls a recording studio in his basement called Greenleaf. And you could follow Greenleaf. You could actually do stuff like this to Greenleaf, if you want. So, once he started attacking all the women we knew, we made sure to share that information far and wide. That's not right. Ah, when I was telling the... Yeah. Actually, the guy with the Obama shirt guy was actually fairly civil. He annoyed me because he didn't watch the video because he would have realized there's no politics in it. So yeah, it would probably be Ben's. It would probably be Eric Ben's Greenleaf recording. This is the other part I never get right, is cutting the end of the tape so it's all then concealed. And I know the angle and I always miss the angle. Yeah, obviously. I mean, there's no way that was random. I mean, this is not a big enough channel for some random troll to... I want this to be at the bottom. Maybe go farther down. Alright, not too bad, not too bad. Not that you guys can see it. Yeah, cut into the stem. Yeah, that's... I always try and remind myself. That's pretty good. Hey, getting trolled is just one more sign of making it, right? I just. Not the best angle. So I should have cut it a little. I think I'll be able to twine over all that. Thanks so much. Let's see how far did this one go. So yeah, I'll show what the twine does look like when it's cool when you do it right. I did it, half right. And like I said, I think with the cushion tape, this is probably a little thin of twine for it. Come on. Yeah, maybe I'll leave it zoomed in tight for this to kind of show how it's done, as long as I do it right. Because that might take me a couple tries. Oh. So you pull out, zoom a little farther out than that. You want like about 10 inches of extra. And then you'll lay that down towards the bars and start wrapping. Did you do this, Ben? Ben in Columbus? I can imagine this is something you have done before. It was very, popular in the 60s through the 70s is when they did this, I think. I mean, maybe they always did. Maybe it goes way back. Well, I know you're. I didn't mean you were old enough to have been around for when it was popular. I meant that having done mechanic work, that if you had done this for people before. Ben said he was born in the 80s. So yeah, then at about here you want to make a loop. So you Oh, I might not make it around again. I might not cover up that. Yeah. Ah, yeah. Through the hole. Then you pull your little tail through. I came real close to getting this to be real good. I could probably clean it up after the fact. What are we looking at there? Yeah, so just make your little knot here. Pull it tight. Cut off your tail. Or don't. Aaron has my nice part tools from the New Year's party. Then you pull it the rest of the way through. There you go, and that's kind of how it's done. So there's, you can share that Rivendell video. I could link it after for anyone watching. It's kind of cool. They just like pump good reggae music and show exactly how to do it. Use wax thread, huh? Hemp thread is what I've always read to use. Is that in the 70s we used wax thread. See, so my oldest bikes, the early 80s ones, have that, I don't know how you pronounce that, cello tape? That's that like super slick ribbon stuff that's horrible that came after cloth tape. Cloth tape at least had some grip. Then they came out with that stuff. It looks super cool, but it's like no grip, and in the rain it's like nothing. So at least this, you know, the old cloth stuff, and this has some wax thread, huh? This must be more of like a 60s and before type vibe. Yeah, like I said, it's not perfect, but I don't know why I put that hood down. So this is shellac. I moved it to after I shellacked a couple of my other. That's what you would have done back in the day, and then it's easy to clean, and as it wears off, you could just reuse it. Do you guys know shellac is all natural? There's an insect that basically makes shellac, like bees make honey. I had no idea until I was looking up for the first bike I cloth bar taped and shellacked and did the twine. Shellac, and then I went down the internet rabbit hole of like the history, and there's a specific bug, and that's what shellac is. It's all natural. And so I put it into here because shellac will all go hard, just like a polyurethane would. That's basically what it is, kind of a natural poly. But yeah, it seems like when I picked it up today, knowing I was going to do this, it was all separated, but it wasn't hard, and it seems like it's reincorporated pretty well. You're not supposed to shake shellac. I remember reading that. I wonder if I could get this top off. This top is probably shellacked on, but oh yeah, that's gonna be the issue. It's essentially exactly like bush binding turns. I don't see Alan's comment calling me a rap star. Nice. This is a glass. So we got glass, so it's not like normal, you know, something where we just tap it. If you're trying to think of what would make the most sense to get this thing off. got it. So this will actually be a couple day process because I'll do a couple thin coats. I think you do the first coat you want it to absorb, and then you do some thin coats. Hot water would have been the call. Channel locks. Yeah, see, even with channel locks, though, I'd be worried about shattering the glass. This is just an old jam jar, you know? This probably won't fit in here. I should get the bike leaned somewhere so that it's not relying on the handlebars, right? Don't really want to bring this over the frame each time. That's the thing that's interesting too. Could you imagine as someone like, I don't care what your other political persuasions may be, but say like, so obviously I don't, and a lot of us here don't agree with the real Alex Jones or whatever, but I can't imagine like going to like some like, there's some guy who's a Republican bicycle rider, so I'm going to go to his live stream and be like, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, you know, like... It's always that the left is so crazy, but I never see the left do the kind of stuff that like people like that do, you know? I don't know. Whatever. It's a weird world. Hey, this has happened since the beginning of the internet. Since the beginning when you didn't have to show your face, and especially back then when you didn't have to even put in a lot of information, right? Brings out the worst in people. We use it for the right reasons here, right? We're all becoming friends. And yeah, I don't know. And if anyone didn't see my last video too, I can't wait till we could do some meetups where we all get together and ride together. That's like the most exciting thing to me. I don't think Danny's in here tonight, but going out and visiting him or having him come and visit us, and Ben's just down in Columbus, which is such an easy trip for us. It was also common to add a road clip on a short string as well. God, it's like the dangle bong before the dangle bong, huh? Can we drop the link to our buddy who, our one friend that we ride with has a company now that has valve caps that have a roach clip attached to them. He sells them for $4.20, believe it or not. Yeah. This was some of the other streams, Micah. You've missed a couple that would not be unrealistic at all. Well, you were there. You were there early on New Year's, because by the time it got to the Kit Kat tasting, that was I won't even go back and watch that. I don't even want to know. I had those Hoppin' Frog beers that were like 16%. I actually had a beer I was going to drink tonight because there was a third one I brought that I was going to drink, a 12% barrel aged Hoppin' Frog that thank God I didn't get to. I don't even remember the countdown. I think we stopped live streaming around 10:30 because we went on at 8. I think the live stream was like 2 hours. Yeah, we watched it on Ben's phone, Aaron told me. And I think I want to tuck that in with the bar end before I get down there with the shellac. You went back and Micah went back and watched the Kit Kat festivities. Yeah, I just remember being like, this live stream took a turn when we started eating Japanese Kit Kats. I still remember that lemon one though. That was delicious. tomorrow I actually have to be up in Twinsburg at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm doing a video for a company that makes, I think most people probably don't know this, but there's a big business for scales that are built into tow motors and pallet jacks. And we're going to make a commercial for that company. So tonight won't get as wild as some of these do, and especially not as wild as New Year's. Man, those hopping frogs. Well, plus I started off with that 100 proof whiskey that we got from Asterisk. And of course we had a beer before we went on air with dinner. Plant-based says he's like Alice Cooper and doesn't remember, don't remember the 70s. Yeah, I was born in 78, so my earliest memories are the classic arcade early 80s type vibe. I had an older brother, so. I think I brought this up on one of the streams before the holidays, but I actually got my original Atari 2600 to work, and maybe we should live stream some combat. Oh, we did chat about that. I remember it now. I was trying to remember earlier when I thought of shellacking, and I know foam brushes cost nothing, but can you clean shellac, or is it more like an oil based, like, or a poly, like? Is this brush done after this to it? Because I don't have any more here. So for the coats, do I need to go to the store and pick up a couple more? I might have some on the other basement. I should do a studio tour one night. I don't know how I do it with a laptop, but maybe do a video. But I actually have a whole separate basement that I have to go upstairs and then down another stairs into, because this is actually on the first floor, 2 different buildings combined. So that's where I keep most of my, this is like, over here I have my bike supply stuff in my little bike shop. The other side has a wood shop and more of my stuff I use to maintain the buildings, because there's 2 apartment units here too. And then build photography sets, old photography gear, all that kind of stuff you might need for props at some point. So it's pretty cool. It's a really cool place. Like I said, after this is all over, we'll ride bikes, and you guys who are nearby or who want to travel, we could see it. I was reading, if you've ever read Bicycle Quarterly, they do I think they call it an unmeeting. So there's no logistics. It's not like planning Road Apple Roubaix or anything like that, but it's just like you have a date, you're going to do some rides, someone makes a route. Everyone plans for their own logistics, their own lodging and stuff like that, and how they're going to get their bike there, and then you all go and ride together. That would be kind of a cool thing I was thinking for us to do too, because yeah, I don't have the wherewithal to do big planning, but for us to all hang out in person, that would be a cool way to go about it. Bicycle Quarterly is Renee Ayers, Compass Tires, those guys. I think we talked about Compass on New Year's. Wasn't Aaron trying to like knock Compass and I was trying to defend him? So I don't remember. I'm sure it was all misinterpreted at the time. That's how they do nutmeg? Yeah. Soak it in rubbing alcohol traveling through for the save this. All right, C. Stanton, thanks for dropping by. New Year's was hilarious. Good. Yeah. The hoppin' frogs were strong, and I knew I wanted to drink them. I should have known better than expect too much help from Ben and Aaron. They were Plus, that's not a beer that neither of those are beers that Aaron would like, anyways. But and like we were saying, the one wasn't good at all. But after you drink the other good one, that's 15%. It doesn't really matter, right? Those beers are probably what I bought them as part of a bundle, like a holiday bundle. Hop and Frog hasn't had their tap room open, unfortunately, because of COVID. Well, not unfortunately, I wouldn't be going in there anyways. But so I think they're selling off a lot of their like cool collection of beers. But those are probably $15 beers a piece if they had been bought individually. And I'm drinking it like a drunkard on New Year's. Yeah, mineral spirits. I wonder if I have anything. I'm sure I do. Wild, strong, not light. But that's not a big deal. Oh, you guys got a Sam Adams Utopia? That's like amazing. That's like, it's basically like liquor, right? Yeah. I think Micah Aaron would be at some point thinking of upgrading a wheel set. Otis is building her the front wheel. I was waiting for a joke about the wide, strong, and not light, but maple barley wine on the Sam Adams Utopia. Huh. Micah, what are you having done to your Soma? Wasn't that in the shop? Did I see that in there without? Is that were you getting the new wheels put on or? Wait, the Soma. That's the Wolverine, right? Yeah, the Soma. Your bike was in there, and then Scary Otis's bike was in there, which is the other brand that's almost it's the same brand as Soma. Ben was telling me that I can't remember what the Albion, right? Albion. This color, I don't like. Again, a low quality live stream, high quality gear, but still streaming. The color this is taking on is pretty much the wet look is the look it'll have. It'll end up a little glossier after a couple more coats, but this is pretty much what it'll look like if you've never done this or seen it done. Which I think does fit. I like the orange, but this will fit a little more with. I think a little more subdued will look a little better on this. Oh, you're going flat bar. New Albion. Yeah, I've got the blunt SS on the Solstice 650 27.5 Jameis. Aerons on the. Oh, yeah. Ulysses is drinking a Brother Thelonious. I've had that. That's a great beer. Why did you decide to go flat bars, Micah? Just something different than your other bikes? I seriously don't want flat bars on anything anymore. If it wouldn't be too much effort, I'd put drops on my old mountain bike that I use as my winter bike. It's just not worth the changing everything out. But even off-road, I like being locked in that hook of the drops. I think that's another thing we were talking about on New Year's, but probably sounds vaguely familiar to me, having this conversation. I think we were, yeah. I think we got a slightly different audience tonight, so. Slightly different chat. Let's see if I missed any spots. Ah, nice. Like I said, he likes our friend Bergie's Gorilla Monsoon and wants to see what it'd be like. It's nice to. I mean, it's nice to have variety. If you have multiple bikes, there's no reason not to try different things too. But what shifting did you say you're putting on that? Oh, Paul levers. I want to grab a bar end here real quick to put in there so it doesn't. There we go. I want to put these 1x11. Oh, nice. You come and didn't. Ben says flat bar is fun and has its place, but I say that because I come from a mountain side of things. So I would like to get these. I have these old Velox, the vintage style bar ends, because that, come on, focus, where you actually tighten it. You know, the rubber, and then you kind of screw them in and it expands the plug side. I thought those would look cooler in here, but trying to push them in over this cushion cloth bar tape, the problem is the rubber is just compressing and getting thick like it's supposed to when you get them in there. So I've just been throwing these old silver ones in here, which I think actually came off the bike, the Raleigh with the whatever group set that's on here now. I'm wondering if after this dries and hardens, if there will be a way to, I don't know, get these vintage style ones in here, because they would just look a tiny bit cooler. Not a huge deal, but yeah. Micah just said funny thing. He prefers drops on his Fargo for mountain bike riding. That's the one thing that's weird to me, because now in the winter when I go and jump on my mountain bike with the studded tires to ride, and the way like to shift or use the brakes, and again I think we talked about this, but then your thumbs are hooked, the thing holding you in place. So I get like flat bars to have like, more control, but as far as like grip on the bars, like having your hands here on the drops, being able to shift and brake, I just can't think of anything that's more secure. Like when I'm on gnarly gravel trails and there's any kind of steep descent, even if I'm not like getting in the drops, I'm not getting in the drops for aerodynamics. I'm getting there to be in like, one, you're lowering your center of gravity so you're more stable. But two, then you have that like, if you would hit something, your hands are locked in. I feel like, I don't know, and it's probably just because even when I mountain biked, I was never a mountain biker. So there's probably something I'm missing. I would love to know what it is. Notch one side with a razor to clear the tape. That's probably what I'll end up doing for the back to the bar end conversation. Yeah, because these are cool. I don't know what they came from, but I hit them with some like chain lube, and they just cleaned up really nice. What else is? Yeah, the front. Yeah, they're actually probably pulled them off like I some vintage bike that are actually made in France, vintage bar ends. But, yeah, now I want to hit around the edge there. Velox still makes the cloth rim tape, right, that you buy? I think they still do. They must have been in business forever. Yeah, that looks badass. I like it. I want to pick the orange, you know, but since I got a deal on it, now I'm kind of glad I got it. I did throw some pedals on here too. I should throw this. Just pedals I had. I'm not sure what I'll end up. But pedals Ben gave me, I believe. I used to ride these on my Trek, my touring bike, before I switched to the flats with the big Velcro straps. My audio recording is blocking the view. Audio is blocking the view, but yeah. See the tires. I love that 9-speed 105 because it still has the vintagey look. Toe cages on those. I think they're MKS pedals. Motorcon saddle that Ben gave me. I think pedals in. So. Just what you're used to with bars. That's what you like about gravel. It's essentially run what you brung, for sure. Oh, the seat. Yeah, vintage Motorcon. I traded this Browns Brook saddle to my friend Kenny for a GoPro Hero 5. But I thought I wanted to put this on my Raleigh because I ride so many miles on there. But I love B17s. This is what I prefer to be on a bike that I'm going to spend a lot of time on. Like with the look here, I'm cool with this all city saddle because it's a bike I'm only going to ride occasionally for fun. Or maybe I take it out on a flat if it does feel sturdy enough and go for it. But you know, this definitely would look good on here. And they do have those. I wonder if, I think they even make an orange B17, don't they? Like they have all those colored leathers now. I'm going to see how much I ride the bike and see where the bike ends up falling into place. If the gearing's great because we got 50, either 34 or 36, and then 32 at the back. So this is, and 3211. So it's super wide range for a 2x. I will have to be careful with the front derailleur. As I had mentioned, when I had this group set on the Raleigh, I broke 3 of them. So, but it's just something I'll be conscious of when I'm shifting. It's actually from the big ring down. I've popped the blade off a couple times of the outside of the front derailleur. So it's something to be cautious of because I'm making a group set make a jump that it was never really designed for. It works great on the 11-speed Shimano, no problems with that. But yeah, so just see where I end up, how I end up riding this bike, what I end up doing with it, and then if it's worth investing in a perfect saddle for it or how comfortable I feel on this one. End of a generation. Yeah. The sell it. Aaron was just talking about that because our friend Colleen, who is actually a brewer in Boston as well, loves those. Said she likes them better than her Brooks. And I'm trying to think of. You like your cambiums? Because everybody else that I've talked to doesn't like them. Kenny, who traded me for that leather one, and he traded because he just wanted to put a black one on his new bike. He switched from the last Space Horse to the newer Space Horse, and he had the brown one on there, but he wanted the black one for the new paint job to have it match because it's the blue and gray from the cream looking Peugeot style one. But he got one and he said he couldn't stand it. I think Ben didn't like his, Ben in Akron. I'm. I don't know. Long miles, nothing to me tops a B17. The tension leather, I just love that. Oh, I'll put this cage on. I thought this would be right. Yeah, I have no true opinion on the Camions because I've never ridden one, but and I could ride. You know, I have like the narrow Brooks on my Viscount. So I could ride some rougher saddles than other people can. My Peugeot, I have a what is that one? That's a vintage 70s style saddle, but it's not leather tensioned. That'll come to me. Yes, when I even touring on a Brooks B17, I used to always have plastic bags shoved up under the rails, and then Aaron one year bought us a couple of the actual Brooks saddles covered, and if there's just a chance of it getting damp outside, I just throw the cover on it. And I've gotten my that B17. I even have a video where I show we got caught in a pouring rainstorm that we didn't expect. But as long as you just let it dry out, let it dry completely, and then reproofide it, you know, it's fine. It actually it's still in great shape. So it's just more taking care of them. But then Ben from Akron too has destroyed a bunch of, or a few leather saddles. So I mean, all they rode back in the day was leather saddles, right? I mean, there was no. That Brooks might need to go on this bike if I do ride it a lot. It would look good on here. Plus my gravel bike I ride so much that maybe... Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Skin on skin. Raw dog. We were one of the last rides, our Wednesday night rides in the spring before we stopped doing them. We started up again in the summer when it was nice out and we could all be like more spaced. But we came out from a bar and it was actually probably that saddle because it was my friend Kenny. And it had like the temperature had dropped and all our saddles were wet. But his wasn't. We thought it was really interesting that all the condensation had formed on all the saddles except the leather one. And we had had a few drinks. And I don't know why, but what came out of my mouth was, have you ever seen a wet cow? So... Oh yeah, that'll work on here. My face is right over these bars and all that shellac is about to make me pass out. Yeah, I think I'll leave this on for a couple tests. Hopefully we get some nice weather so I can see how this thing rides. Today was snow rain mix up here in Northeast Ohio. When I was coming, I did a walkthrough at the job I'm doing the commercial for tomorrow, about a half hour from here. Totally, walkthroughs drive me crazy. It's like, can't we just talk about this in the morning? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the bike feels and handles. I was telling Ben, cleaned up the hubs, these Ultegra hubs. They're actually like nice and shiny. I didn't realize that because they had so much dust on them. So it's, yeah, Ultegra hubs, Open Pro rims, which I want to clean those up a little more. I wiped them down, but maybe might be worth doing a super low, like the super fine steel wool on them. I'll see. Definitely the rims, like, or the spokes could use a little bit of that. There's a Ramon song about beef stew or raw dogging. There used to actually be, for all the film chemicals around here, a bunch of steel like marbles that you would drop in, like your developer or your fixer or whatever it may be, to fill up and take all the air out. I should almost look on the other side so I could save this. Overnight I think it'll be fine, but the problem with shellac is, you know, you buy a big can and then if you do bars every 2 years, you know, you're never going to get through it. But those insects did so much work. Oh, sniffing shellac, yeah. What rhymes with shellac? Now I want to sniff some shellac. Now I want Alex Jones commenting back. Oh, and the brakes that we had talked about. So I'd use the front Ultegra brake facing backwards to fit it in the rear. With the 30s, it looks like it's going to contact the rim just fine. I don't think I'm going to have to change it or drill it out. Another reason to get it out on the road and see where it's wearing, but just closing the caliper right now, I don't have the camera viewed, but it looks like it's going to be okay. That jar is never open. It just got open tomorrow in the morning and tomorrow in the evening. It already doesn't want to. Yeah. Yeah, need to wear it in, wear off some of that. Yeah. These bars, I think I talked about them before. I can't quite make it out. It says France, Francais, and Italia here. But I can't make out the logo, and it's super cool. I'll take a photo and I'll put it on the I'll put it on my cycling Instagram. But it's something, and maybe someone knows to fill this in, Philippe, and it's got some kind of like sketch in the bars. I need to get it in the right Goudons. Does that Goudon Philippe? Does that mean anything to anybody? But yeah, they're really cool. I don't know. They were in, when Dirty River was moving locations, they were in like a box, and I held them up and I instantly liked the way they look, and I was like, Otis, what are these from? And he was like, just take them, then I don't have to put them away. So I rode my bike home with the handlebars under my arm. Just reading that comment. Ben says, you ever look up Joey Ramone's cookbook? It's actually killed some people, but it's because they were idiots. That's a lot to process, that statement. I mean, I suppose any cookbook could kill idiots, but there must be something. Yeah, that's Goudon. Yeah, are you familiar with those? I am not. It almost looks. Oh, the picture on the bars is a cyclist, but it's top down, so it's like a helmet and his arms outstretched on the drops. I thought they were cool. They were super light and kind of wide, and the drop's not overly deep for a vintage bar, so I thought it'd be kind of perfect for this. drink the Kool-Aid. I'm definitely going to look up Joey Ramone's cookbook, though. I mean... Oh, Peugeot thing? Huh. I'm trying to think if, Yeah, so yeah, that was right. The clamp would be fine. It's the, where it went into the head tube if they were, so a stem would be different on a French bike, but the clamp should be fine. You don't usually need to shim the clamp. It's the, you actually need to, on French, I think you need to put normal stem into a French head tube, but traditional French head tube, you would have to file down, the stem to get it in there. So, yeah, they could be French bars. The stem on this one's an SR. Oh, it was the book of satire, and some people actually tried to make the stuff. That makes total sense. Yeah, so I'm probably going to sign off here in a minute because, like I said, I hate saying I have to get up super early, but it's early for me. I was a farmer for years, and I was loading trucks at 5:30 in the morning, and now I look back and I'm like, how the hell did I do that? But yeah, now anymore in my life, having to be somewhere a half hour away at 7:30 is early. Plus I gotta get up, drink my coffee, have something to eat so I don't get hangry. I should have actually picked up, I should now leave extra early so I could have some food in my pocket so I don't get hangry while on this. This is a big warehouse manufacturing facility. Hangry on the set. I think on Thursday I might try and, so this is pretty close. I just need to put the, actually I don't know what the term is for what routes the cables under the bottom bracket. I saw it just earlier today, someone talking about it. And see if I have a chance at setting up the campy gearing. Maybe play around with it while we talk. And then next week I think I'm going to reach out to a couple of you guys and see about maybe as I finish this up, maybe do a couple more guest things where I get my friends who are mechanics over to help me button some stuff up. I have a Jeton Tour de France from 1972 over there that I want to finish. It's real close to being done. It's kind of an interesting Neo-Retro build because I got micro shift levers so I could keep the original strong light crank, and because it looks so cool, but then it's 105 derailleur in the back, and I'm trying to get that to work right. And I stopped on it like 2 years ago. It's been sitting there, but that would be a really cool build and has a super vintagey look. Mavic racer brakes, French as it comes. Like that is all French standard bike. But I could get into explaining that. That could be later in the winter. But yeah, do some interview things, have some fun with that. But yeah, Thursday I think we'll mess with this, and then make some plans for going forward after that. So get you guys involved as much as we can. Yeah, this look is just badass. I mean, oh, I gotta show this. I actually have it saved if it works here before I go. Let's see. Hey, Ben sent me this link. Is that showing up? This is my look, a small size. But this is the Pro's Closet. And I looked at Ben sent it to me and I'm like, okay, small bikes are more valuable than big bikes. But I'm like, $2,000, no way. And then I realized what they had done. Let me get this back up here. They had put a 50th anniversary campy group set on it. So, granted, this one's in better shape than mine. But I think basically you're paying all that money for the 50th anniversary campy group set. Chinelli bars. What did they say? The wheels? The wheels are Mavic GP4 alloy. Oh, and then the campy hubs. But anyways, to me, it's kind of crazy to have a campy 50th. I mean, they made a lot, but they still go for big money. If I had that group set, I'd be putting that on a Calnago or selling it separately. To put it on this frame, which I love this frame, but because I think it looks cool and it's a Bernardino. But I think I bought this frame for $170 from France. So I think I paid $225. I paid $50 in shipping. So yeah. Look but don't ride. Reading up on the comments, yeah. Yeah, that group set, right? So Ben Franco said, yeah, that group set is your money. But again, that's why it just seems weird to put it on vintage carbon. To put 50th anniversary camping on vintage carbon, even if the era is correct. I would totally be putting that on a Kaunago Master. I mean, that's exactly what I'd put it on, right? Red Kaunago, you know. But that bike's still up, and Ben sent that to me like over a week ago, which probably makes sense. But we'll see. Yeah, and Pro's Closet has been gone through by a professional mechanic. I don't know. Again, I wouldn't buy a group set like that to ride. It's a collector's piece, and I wouldn't buy a group set like that because I'm not a collector. I like to ride my bikes. But again, if I was, I would make it the perfect, you know, vintage steel, complete thing, all Italian, right? Put that campy stuff on, all a full Italian build, right? It's got to go on a Kaunago. That's it. I wouldn't even put it on a Bianchi. Oh, that's right. They don't want to sell the Kaunago frame, but they're willing to part with the look, huh? Yeah, that's possible. Alan asked how many miles my Toyota has. My Toyota has... It's getting close to 200 if it's not over 200,000. I put a brand new clutch in it about a year ago. Brand new manual transmission. Yeah. But I got it for free. So it's my third Toyota. I put a lot of miles on Toyotas. Had a brief flirtation with a Volkswagen that was a stick, which I liked it being a stick, but God, you couldn't do anything yourself on that car. So, no German cars for me. Had a German bike, but I sold it to a friend a year ago Christmas. A woman who gave it to her boyfriend. So, all right, guys. Yeah, like I said, I've got to recharge all the batteries for my camera, get all my stuff together, and go through the checklist so my 6 o'clock in the morning mind doesn't have to make sure I have everything. So shorter one tonight, but fun as always. And I will see you guys. Well, got a special upload we're going to work on tomorrow that'll be up Thursday morning. Then we'll do the live stream on Thursday night. So